Developing economies have become more resilient to external financial shocks originating in the US, said a research conducted by the International Monetary Fund. The developing world accounts for about one-third of the trade and GDP at market rates, as well as three-fifths of the US exports, making its role in supporting American economic performance greater than ever. Last week, the US Commerce Department announced that the first quarter GDP growth for 2015 was an anemic 0.2%, immediately sparking fears that a US slowdown could lead to a global recession. However, over the past 2 decades, low and middle income economies have spent more time in expansions, while downturns and recoveries have become shallower and shorter, according to the IMF research. The time it took for the medium developing economy to recover after a downturn or recession has been reduced from 10 years in the 1970s and 80s to just 2 years by the early 2000s. Developing countries still face a larger risk of deeper recession when terms of trade turn against them, capital flows dry up, or advanced economies enter recessions themselves. But the scale of that risk has diminished due to introduction of policy reforms that increase economic resilience of low and middle income economies. The findings concluded that economies with inflation targeting regimes see recovery periods less than a third as long as economies without targeting. The research also said that median reserves in developing countries more than doubled as a percentage of GDP, and median external debt dropped from 60% to 35% of GDP between 1990s and 2010. The findings point towards low volatility in developing economies, which has led to improved GDP growth. This is also good news for the US, since a strong global economy is a positive force for growth in every country, including developed nations.